The future of the United States Department of Education has become the focus of a high-stakes legal and political fight. On July 14, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 unsigned order, cleared the Trump administration to lay off nearly half of the department's workforce, about 1,400 people, while broader lawsuits continue. That order lifted a lower court freeze on the layoffs first announced in March when President Donald Trump signed an executive order directing the closure of the Department of Education. Although the justices have not ruled on whether the plan is ultimately legal, their decision lets the dismissals begin immediately. For decades, some conservatives have argued that federal involvement in education oversteps the Constitution. The administration now says it can deliver essential services with a leaner staff and return most authority to the states. President Trump hailed the ruling as a major victory to parents and students, and Education Secretary Linda McMahon called it a chance to cut red tape. Opponents see something very different. In a 19-page dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, joined by Justices Elena Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson, called the majority's move indefensible. She wrote that by firing the people needed to enforce existing education laws, the executive branch is effectively repealing those laws without Congress. 21 Democratic attorneys general, teachers' unions, and school districts sued to block the cuts, arguing they would cripple offices that handle federal student aid, track school data, and protect civil rights, putting vulnerable students at risk. So what does the Department of Education actually do? Created in its modern form in 1979, it does not set curricula. Instead, it administers college aid such as Pell Grants, sends federal dollars to K-12 schools, especially those serving low-income families and students with disabilities, collects nationwide data, and enforces civil rights statutes to guarantee equal access to education. With the layoffs now moving forward, critics warn of delayed student loan processing, gaps in disability services, and weaker civil rights enforcement. Supporters counter that states can manage many of these functions on their own. The clash has become a test of separation of powers. Can a president effectively dismantle a congressionally created agency by gutting its staff? While that constitutional question is still before the courts, the practical consequences will unfold in real time for colleges, school districts, and millions of students. In short, the Supreme Court's order is not the final word on the Department of Education, but it marks a pivotal moment. The administration gets to act on a long-standing conservative goal. Opponents brace for what they call untold harm to the nation's most vulnerable learners. The legal and political battle is far from over, yet its impact on America's classrooms could start as soon as the pink slips go out.